Hello, my amazing first grade artists. This week we are finishing up our winter landscapes. Last week I taught during some of the live lessons or on the recorded lesson, I know not everyone had art, how to start our landscape. We talked about ripping the snow to add that hill. We also drew trees and cut them out and glued them down. Today we need to finish adding some details and add some paint as well, my friends. So you're going to need that paint bag that I gave you, okay? Now, I know, like I said, some artists maybe didn't have art class last week. If you need to, my friends, you can either come to the art lesson this week and I will show you last week's steps, or you can also go back to last week in SeeSaw and watch the video on how to start your project. But please get it started first before you do the rest of this video, okay? So some friends might need to backtrack a little bit, and I'm sorry for that, but it's how life works some days, right? So without any further ado, my friends, let's go take a look at what other art materials besides our paint that we will need today. All right, artists, so I have my materials here. I went ahead, I took out my paint cup and a Q-tip as well as my paintbrush, because you have two options for how you want to paint your snow today, my friends, okay? You can use Q-tip or paintbrush, whichever you like. So, do we need anything out of our art folders this week, my friends? Only your started art project from last week. You don't need anything else. First thing we're going to do is decorate our trees a little bit. Now, we're not going to draw things like ornaments. Instead, we're going to add some fun tree branches. If you notice on mine, my friends, I used some different lines to help make my trees kind of decorative and fun. That's exactly what we're going to do today. So, using your pencil first, I want you to draw. I'm going to draw in marker, though, just so you can see it easier. The first thing we want to do is add a tree trunk that goes almost to the top of our trees, my friends. So, draw a nice straight line up the middle of your trees to start with. Once we have the rest of our tree trunk, we're going to add some tree branches coming off of it, my friends. Now, you need to decide what types of lines you want to use. You can use all different lines, or you could use the same lines for all of your trees if you'd like. Personally, my favorite type of line to use on the trees would be spirals. So I like to go from one side to the other and add my spirals going up my tree. You can make them at the same height or different heights if you'd like. And I go all the way to the tippity top, and then I even add a little spiral up at the top too if I'd like. You don't have to, okay? Now, like I said, I could do the same thing for all three of my trees, or I could try different lines as well. For example, maybe I'll try a bouncing line on this one, just to see how that might look. Remember, we talked about lines earlier in the year when we did our line leaves. Maybe for my last one, I could even just do straight lines too if I wanted, right? And sometimes, even at the end of my straight lines, I like to make little dots just to kind of end my lines. That's another way to do it, my friends. Again, you can pick how you want to do your tree branches, but please add at least a few branches. I would say 3 or 4 at least, if not more, to each one of your trees, okay? Now, if you did it in pencil first, like I suggested, when you're done, put your pencil down, pick up your black marker, and go ahead and trace those up. That way I'll be able to see those, my friends, okay? So if you need to pause the video here and grab up your black marker or Sharpie or black crayon wet, you can go ahead and do that and trace up your lines now, artists. I'm going to keep going, though, and I'm going to go ahead and open my paint now. Now, I'm going to give my friends a warning. I noticed that our paint cups have a tendency to splatter when we open, so I'm going to move my artwork back and make sure I'm not opening this close to my clothing. Even though this is washable paint, I don't want it getting all over you, okay? So I'm going to carefully open it up. There we go. Now, our snow today, my artists, I want you to think about what kind of snow you would like. Whether you'd like maybe really light, kind of delicate snow with only a few drops here or there, or if you want really, really big snowdrops and you're going to kind of maybe swirl around your Q-tip or your paintbrush. If you want more of a snowstorm, you'd want to use your paintbrush pad. You would dip it in and kind of make the snow blow sideways. But however you would like your paint to look today, my friends, is up to you. Again, you can use either a Q-tip or your paintbrush, my friends. You can go ahead and add it. We want to add it to the whole background of the sky and even in front of our trees. You see how I added a couple in front of my trees? You don't want to cover them up completely, otherwise I'll lose what you did. All right, so I think I'm just going to do some nice light snow dots here and there. As I need to, I'll go back to my white paint, and I'll add a few more as I go. I'm going to speed this step up just so we can get done a little bit sooner, friends. Again, you decide how you want your snow to look on your artwork, please. Okay? Here I go. So here's mine, my friends. And again, I made my snow the way that I like my snow. Other ways you can do it, though, again, if you want to make your snow really, really big, you can roll your Q-tip in the paint. Or if you also want to make your snow kind of look like it's maybe flying through the sky, when you put your dot down, go ahead and give it a little swipe to make it look like it's going in a certain direction, okay? Or again, you can use your paintbrush pet and you can make your snow look more kind of like side to side, kind of glowing look. However you would like to do it, okay? Now, the last most important thing about your paint, my friends, is that we are going to need the rest of this white paint for our next project. So when you are done, if you use the Q-tip, you can throw the Q-tip away, right? If you use your paintbrush, I want you to wash his hair or her hair up really well. And the most important part, my friends, is to make sure that you get that cap back on your paints nice and tight. You should kind of hear a snap when it goes on tight, and you can put it back in the bag and save it for next projects. But again, we're going to need a little bit more white paint in our next project. So, last thing, when your artwork is finished, this week in SeeSaw, your assignment is to turn in a photo of your finished artwork. So you can wait until it's dry, or if you're really, really careful and you hold down close to the bottom, you can take a picture while it's wet. Please make sure you don't put it back in your art folder, though, if it's wet, right? Let it dry, okay? All right, my artists, I hope you have fun painting some snow and finishing up your trees. For now, I'll go ahead and say goodbye, and as always, have fun creating, my friends.